We hear people talk about like, don't chase other people's validation, or like, you need to learn how to validate yourself. And I was thinking about it and I was like, I don't know if that's totally clear. So, chasing validation for me looked like essentially me putting myself on a platter and being like, hey, everybody, is this good enough? Do you like this? Does it have value? And people being like, ew, gross. Like, that's not something I can answer. Like, answer that yourself. But I'd be like super butthurt and I wouldn't understand why I was getting the reaction that I was. But that's because I grew up in a home and not just in a home, like my family lineage did not learn how to validate themselves and like see each other. And so I think in order for you to do that for yourself, you have to have it modeled for you first. And so thankfully, like 7 years ago, I entered a 12-step program. And in that program, I sat down with this woman and I was sharing this like traumatic childhood event that I'd had, that I was always told I was too sensitive and it wasn't a big deal, which really cut me off from my inner knowing and my intuition. So I just was always like kind of looking around like this feeling keeps coming up about this situation, but everyone's telling me that it's not there. But it keeps coming up, and so she just was listened and she was patient and she was present. And when I finished talking, she just said, I'm so sorry that happened to you. That should never have happened to you. Like, someone should have been there to protect you. And it makes sense that you feel the way you do and that it keeps coming up. And it was pivotal because I was like, hot damn, like, oh, that's how I can do it. First of all, it validated me. It validated my own experience. So it reconnected me to my intuition and my inner knowing. And I was like, I was right about that, and then it kind of led me to be like, where else am I right about that? Like, where else is my intuition on point that I haven't been listening to before? But really what it did was it modeled for me how to show up for myself when I'm struggling. Or when I'm, at any point, like how to actually validate myself. So for right now, like for example, I'm moving, or I just moved. I moved from a house to like a house half the size as a single parent, as someone who's a business owner and the only employee. So it's not like that can come to a screeching halt. So yeah, for the last week or so, we've been eating a lot of fast food. I haven't been working out as much. And yeah, I probably haven't been the most tuned parent. However, because I know how to validate myself, instead of piling on judgment and anger towards myself for not being able to do all the things I normally do and move, I've just been like, yeah, that makes sense that you let those things go by the wayside. That sounds like good self-care. I would understand if it was somebody else, I would totally understand why they would have to do that. And hey, seems like you're doing a great job, right? So I don't know if you heard it, but it's basically self-acceptance and self-love. Being patient with yourself. Progress, not perfection. Like, I might not have done it the best I could, but I learned something from it and I'll do better next time. And maybe you're watching this and you're like, hey, that's great, but I don't have anybody that can be an empathetic witness. Well, that can be a coach, that can be a therapist, that can be a good friend, that can be someone from a religious organization that you're a part of. Otherwise, I've also been validated by reading books and seeing myself in the experiences of other people and be like, that's interesting. That happened to me too. And it looks like they're, validating themselves in this experience. And so I have the permission now to do it for myself too. And also through watching videos, there was a ton of stuff that I watched on YouTube when I was, healing from all of this trauma that really validated me and connected me back to my own intuition. If you're still here, congratulations. I'm Kirby. I'm a recovering people pleaser. I crawled out of my own personal hell by raising my self-worth, finding my voice, and learning to set healthy boundaries. If that is something that you struggle with, like and follow for more, or share this with somebody who might need to hear it today. Take care.